Hello and welcome to Empires of Aether, a turn-based strategy game that I have been working on for a little over a year now that allows you to play as a nation devoted to one element. Think Avatar: The Last Airbender, but on steroids, because instead of just having 4 elements, we have 14 to choose from, all with totally unique ways to play and multiple ways to win. You'll find that no two games are the same. Let's take a look at it. Here we are on the mysterious island of Aether, where word has gotten around the world about the secret that is at the center of the island, the elemental temple that houses the secret to the element Aether, the only way for other elements to utilize the powers of another. And of course, this island is supporting a bevy of environments and ecosystems that are changing each and every round. And not only environments, but the monsters located on the board as well. And so, what are we going to do? Well, you are going to play one of our 14 elements located around this board. We've got your original 4, water, air, earth, fire, some intermediate elements, glacier, or ice, metal, magma, and lightning, and then some weirder ones on the outsides there. There's going to be something that you're drawn to. Early game strategies, late game strategies, aggro, economic, monster hunter. There's going to be something for you, and let's show you what we mean by that. Here we are taking a closer look at the first element created, and that is fire, a very aggressive yet economic powerhouse that is going to strike at the enemy and not give in. But at the beginning of the game, what everyone does is they roll their dice, because if you'll notice this large card, which is your element's passive, some elements gain a bonus from having certain tiles under their ownership. For example, fire's a big fan of mountains and volcanoes, and so it's very important that when our board gets randomly generated, that we don't just have an overpowered corner for a certain element. And so the first step that occurs after everyone rolls their dice is everyone gets to ban an element. And the high roll gets to do so first, and once everyone has banned an element, the highest roll gets to pick their element and corner first. And so for the sake of this demonstration, we are going to pick fire with our first selection here. And so, now that everyone has selected their elements and selected their corner, now we get to pick exactly what strategy we're going to go for. This game, you can win in a variety of ways. The goal is to obtain any 2 win conditions on this card, but also, every element has access to their own unique win conditions as well. We can eliminate someone from the game, have 50 of each resource, which we'll go into here in a second. That is going to be food and building materials. You can own a certain amount of land, defeat any 2 monsters on the board, own 3 important star tiles on the board, or own 10 armies with a militaristic win. But on top of that, you'll find that later stages of the game, every element has access to a quest, a unique win condition that only they can access. And so, once you figure out what your matchups are, you have to pick up your elemental abilities that only you can utilize for this game. And everyone starts out at tier 1, where your weakest abilities are. But you get to select 3 from each tier. Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3. That's a total of 9 abilities. And with every element having multiple options, your builds, your lineups are going to be different from game to game. A strategy that wins you one game might not work whatsoever in another game, and so you have to be flexible. Because remember, with the board changing, and your opponents changing, and your elemental matchups changing, you have to be flexible. So let's go into what a turn actually looks like. And we've got this lovely phases card in every baggie that's going to assist you with that, because all in all, the basic actions of each turn are simple, but it's the combination of these turns and in conjunction with all your opponent's turns that make the game a little complex, and that's what makes it so exciting. And so what happens first is we draw a card from the advantage deck, and we can get an announce card that prompts an immediate effect, or we can get a powerful advantage card that we can hold on to from another time. And so our elemental abilities are public to our opponent, but our advantage cards are what we keep close to the chest, so they don't know what we've got in store for them. And so that is what is going to kick off your turn. But after that, it's pretty simple. We are able to move on the board. And so we have our general, and every element has their own unique general, and it is a very, very powerful unit. And sometimes there's a lot of abilities that attach themselves to it. But in general, every single unit that you own can move on the board, and provided you have enough resources to purchase this tile, you can purchase it. And you just simply drag a coin to show that you own it. And we've got our trackers down here at the bottom of the board. You've got food, and you've got building materials. And so each tile, depending on what they are producing and contributing to your economy, has a certain cost to it. And so you are managing your resources along with managing the threats on the board. There's a lot to consider in this game. And so, as you're opening up with your turns, you really just kind of want to expand on the board and get your presence there. And so what can you do once you own a tile? Well, you can fortify your tile utilizing defensive fortifications, which make it a little bit harder for your opponent to take them. But you can also put barracks down on tiles that you own, and barracks are what allow you to train soldiers so that you can expand in other directions and buy other pieces of land. On all of these tiles that you own are going to contribute to your economy at the end of the day. And what else can you do? We can also put a resource building on these tiles as well in order to double the economic production of that tile. And when we get enough soldiers together, which you've got this little dwarf soldier right here, when we get 5 soldiers together, that is what constitutes an army. And so in general, what you're doing on your turn is you're moving, you're purchasing, you're fortifying what you own, and then lastly, what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to attack. And attacking is something that we'll cover in another video. Combat is something we'll cover in another video. But we're planning out our turns. We're planning out our pathway to victory because our opponents are doing the same thing. We've got monsters at our disposal, and these tiles with the black coins on them, those are your star tiles, and that is yet another win condition to consider. So, I hope just taking a little bit of look at this and a little bit of consideration, something here has piqued your interest. And if you are interested, then I do hope that you will join our small but growing Discord community and join us on this journey as we're trying to make this a competitively viable tabletop experience. At the end of each turn, at the end of every player's turn, you'll find that the final step is to draw from the weather deck, which can either have an immediate effect on all players at the table, or it can lay the foundation for the circumstances surrounding the next couple of turns. For example, we draw summer. Well, fire gets a little bit of a supercharge for the next couple of turns. Or, just in general, whoever is defending gets a little bit of a buff. And so lots of different things can come into play and disrupt your play. So once again, you gotta be flexible. That is the name of the game. Mitigating chance, mitigating risk, and staying flexible. Empires of Aether. So that is a very brief introduction to what is a super fun experience, a super unique experience, and I hope at least some aspect of this has piqued your interest. And if it has, I do hope you'll join our small but growing Discord community as we try to make this one of the first ever competitively viable tabletop experiences. And this is just the beginning of what is going to be a really, really cool journey for all of us involved. This is Empires of Aether. Hope to see you soon.